Hey guys, so I'm breaking my usual format today. This is the end of my second job. It's just been a busy day. It's been a busy couple weeks. Went to see Barbie the other day with my wife. The trailer, I thought it actually looked pretty funny. I think I went in with the right, kind of idea, like be prepared for some feminist stuff, but it'll probably be pretty funny. And I mean, that was essentially accurate. Funnily enough, two of my favorite movie reviewers, who honestly couldn't be more different from one another, Chris Stuckman and The Critical Drinker, viewed this movie two completely different ways. And I have to say that I fall somewhere in the middle. Chris Stuckman is less bothered by a lot of the things that I am about movies these days. And The Critical Drinker, well, I mean, he's kind of made a career off of like bashing feminism and stuff like that. I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you, when Prey came out and he actually liked it, it seemed like he almost begrudgingly liked it. Oh, this is gonna be great. I'm gonna get to rip apart the feminist Predator movie. And then he watched, he's like, shit, it was actually kind of good. Damn it. What am I supposed to do now? So I went in with an open mind, but like obviously not getting my hopes up. I don't really have much stock in Barbie, honestly. I think that this film is made mostly for women in a nostalgic sort of way. I recognize the nostalgia in my wife. I mean, again, I'm not familiar with Barbie, but it's like, oh, I remember that jacket. Oh, I remember those crazy fluorescent yellow rollerblades. I get it. It's kind of like Ninja Turtles. It's like, oh shit, they got the van that shoots the pizzas. It is for an older crowd. I mean, it's a feminist movie, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. And the thing is, it doesn't commit like the cardinal sin of not being funny. Like, there's a lot of shit in the movie that I disagree with, but it's funny. So I mean, I for the most part enjoyed myself throughout the entirety of the movie. The reason why I have to lean a little bit more with The Critical Drinker on this, and why I would not recommend that you take little, like, small, impressionable girls to see this movie. Believe it or not, it's not the content. There is some inappropriate content in this movie. It's rated PG-13, but for the most part, it's double entendres. I mean, dirty double entendres, but still. I mean, like a young kid might not pick up on that. But this movie, and again, I was rooting for it. The movie made me want to like the movie, but it made a horrible mistake that a lot of movies these days having to do with feminism make. Black Christmas did it. She-Hulk did it. I am a woman and this is why it's so difficult to be a woman speech, and it wasn't like played for comedy in that scene, and that's the thing that snaps a lot of Barbies out of it. Some of it were good points, but the thing is, even the stuff that I disagreed with, okay, like I was laughing so much that I'm like, I don't even care. It's a joke. It's an ages-old joke. Women getting the upper hand on their men. I mean, dating back to 411 BC with Lysistrata, for God's sake. Laurel and Hardy did it. There was like an almost identical Flintstones episode where Fred is telling freaking Barney about, the fist in the iron glove, and it turns out that Wilma's running the show. My Big Fat Greek Wedding, the woman is the neck of the household and she can turn the head any way she wants. I mean, like, it's an ages-old thing. But I always feel that it like used to be good-natured, and in this particular instance, all the shit bashing men, because I would say like, oh well, they're bashing Ken, and they do, and I get that, because it's like, what the hell is Ken? He's an appendage. He's just Barbie's boyfriend, maybe, kind of, but Ken's a dork. Like, who cares about Ken, right? But the thing is, like, all the men outside are assholes too, and like, they take like jokes about like the patriarchy and stuff like that, and this humor is hysterical. There's a scene in the film, I'm not going to give away the whole movie, the Barbies are going to distract their various Kens, and one of the Kens is watching The Godfather, and the Barbie sits next to him and goes like, oh, I've never seen The Godfather, and he goes, you've never seen The Godfather? It was very funny, well-written movie, and I don't mind that they bashed on dudes like in the corporate world. But the problem is, this thing with this rant in this one scene, it was really the one issue that I had, where it's like, if you're a woman and even if you're too attractive, you'll get torn apart by the other women. It's like, okay, well, is there a message there about maybe how women shouldn't tear each other down and should work together, and if they did, maybe they'd be doing what men do? I mean, I'm not like making that argument. I'm just saying, like, when you take away the joke and you just put the message in there, you open it up to scrutiny. I also understand that this film wasn't really meant for me, and that's fine. And you know what? This movie didn't invade anything outside of its own genre. It didn't turn Luke Skywalker into a wimp. It didn't kill Han Solo. It didn't turn Indiana Jones into a wet rag. It was its own thing, and it was made for women, and I get that. I just, when I hear a scene like that, you know, about like women and how hopeless it is and stuff, it's like, what kind of a message are you actually sending to young girls? You know, I mean, the human daughter in this movie, she had this like face, like from the moment she was introduced, like, it used to be called moody teenager, like teenage angst face. Now it's called like, you know, future Antifa member face. Like, it's just like, it's just portrayed as like she's so fucking miserable. And it's like, why would you want to like bring a girl up in a world that basically tells her she's destined to be held down her whole life? I mean, like, that's kind of, to me, that's like a self-fulfilling prophecy, you know what I'm saying? And that, yeah, that one scene really bothered me. It really set like the precedent for the rest of the movie, which is too bad, because it was a fun movie. It was a funny movie. I mean, Margot Robbie and Ryan Gosling were absolutely hysterical. And, you know, not for nothing, if the movie is on TV, you know, at some point and my wife is watching it, I'll sit down and watch it again with her. It was entertaining. I mean, dudes, there's worse things that you can, you know, that your wife or significant other can sit you down to watch. But it's just kind of like, you know, because like I was even thinking about it, like, what if the roles were reversed? What if it was about a movie where Ken's had enough, you know? And he's like, but I don't understand. I built the Barbie dream house with my beautiful muscles. Plumber Ken, he installed the septic system so that the dog could take a shit here. That was another thing that was actually very complimentary about, that I have to say about the movie, that they had a lot of Mattel, like, failed products that actually did exist, like Earring Ken, which is gay Ken, you know, but they pulled that off the market. Ken's friend, I think his name was Alan, which is just like, what? It just came and went, obviously. There was the dog that both eats and shits. There was the pregnant doll. There's this whole running joke in the movie about how they try to avoid her and stuff. But it's like, what if you took that exact same scenario with Ken? You know, like, I built the Barbie dream house. I put in the septic system, and you made a movie about that. Like, yeah, I could definitely see where the humor is. But then if it like went a step further, you know, and they pulled a man from our time and he started going on a tirade about like, and I mean, what happens to men who are falsely accused? You know, they have their reputations dragged through the mud. You know, if they don't go to prison and have something horrible happen to them, then they're a pariah. Women always get alimony. Where's the battered men's shelters? I don't see any. It's sort of like, if you took something like that and you just threw it into an otherwise funny movie that had its own point, like I said, you kind of open it up to scrutiny, in my opinion. Overall, I mean, I would give the movie like maybe 2.5 stars for what it is. It's not my cup of tea. I wouldn't recommend people bring their small daughters to see this. I think that this is more of like a teenager / aging woman kind of movie, because it has a lot of the like 90s Barbie shit, you know. So I think it's really geared for an older audience, and I do think that a lot of parents are going to be confused by that. It was visually interesting. The characters were funny. The jokes were funny. I laughed almost the entire way through. I just wish that they had stayed the course and not gotten too serious and not gotten too deep with it, because they really would have stuck the landing, and I think that it would have gone down as a classic. But anyways, guys, that's my thoughts on Barbie. Have you guys seen Barbie? If you did, let me know what you thought. And that's all she wrote.